Ladies and gentlemen, the founder of a company now valued at over $1 million.
Aisha Verma.
But Aisha didn't smile. Not yet, because in her mind, she wasn't standing on that stage. She was back there, back to the night everything broke. Rain hit the pavement like it was angry, not gentle drops, not a soft drizzle. This was the kind of rain that didn't just fall, it attacked. Aisha stood outside the rusted gate of the only place she had ever called home, a small, crumbling house at the edge of a noisy street. Her bag sat beside her.
Old.
Torn at the edges, filled with everything she owned, which wasn't much. Inside the house, voices echoed. Sharp. Explosive. Her stepfather's voice cut through the walls like broken glass. You think you can stay here forever? Huh? You're 18 now. Grow up! Her mother's voice followed. Quieter, but somehow more painful. We tried, Aisha. We really did. Aisha didn't move, didn't knock, didn't cry, because deep down, she already knew. This wasn't a fight. This was an ending. The door opened. Her stepfather stood there, eyes cold, arms crossed. You heard us. Aisha swallowed. Just one more week. I'll find something. I just need... No. The word came instantly, like he had been waiting to say it. Her mother stood behind him, eyes avoiding hers. That hurt more than anything, Aisha's voice cracked. Mom? Silence. Then, I'm sorry. And just like that, the door closed. Not slammed. Not dramatic. Just closed. As if she was nothing more than a chapter they were done reading. Aisha stood there for a long time, rain soaking her clothes, her hair, her thoughts. She waited. For the door to open again, for someone to say it was a mistake, for anything. Nothing happened. Eventually, she picked up her bag and walked away. The streetlights flickered like they were unsure if they wanted to stay on. Cars rushed past. People moved fast. No one noticed her. No one asked. No one cared. And that was the moment it hit her. Not the cold. Not the hunger. But the realization. She was alone. Completely, painfully, alone. The first night, she didn't sleep. Not really. She sat on a broken bench near a closed shop. Her bag clutched tightly to her chest. Every sound felt dangerous. Every shadow felt alive. A group of men laughed loudly nearby. She flinched. A dog barked. Her heart raced. A bike slowed down. She looked away quickly. Her mind whispered the same question over and over again. What now? But there was no answer. Only silence and fear. By the second day, hunger started speaking louder than fear. Her stomach twisted painfully. She hadn't eaten since the morning before everything fell apart. She walked into a small food stall. The smell hit her instantly. Hot oil, spices, fresh bread. It felt cruel. The vendor looked at her. What do you want? She hesitated. Her fingers tightened around the few coins she had left. Not enough. Not even close. Water, she said quietly. He handed her a glass. She drank slowly, trying to trick her body into feeling full. It didn't work. As she turned to leave, her eyes lingered on the food. Golden, warm, alive. Her stomach growled loudly. The vendor noticed. For a second, something in his expression softened, then hardened again. Don't stand here, move! And just like that, she was back outside. Hungry, invisible, days blurred together. Morning didn't feel like morning. Night didn't feel like night. Everything felt the same. Cold, empty, endless. She tried looking for jobs. Anywhere. Everywhere. But people didn't see potential. They saw a girl with messy hair, tired eyes, and no address. Experience? No. Come back later. We're not hiring. Leave your number. She didn't have one. Rejection became routine. Hope became dangerous. Because every time she felt a little bit of it, reality crushed it instantly. On the fifth night, it rained again. Harder this time. Aisha sat under a half-broken shelter, water dripping from the edges. Her clothes were soaked. Her body shivered uncontrollably. She hugged her knees tightly, trying to keep whatever warmth she had left. Tears mixed with rain, silent, exhausted. For the first time, a thought crossed her mind. What if I just stopped trying? It was quiet, but powerful, seductive. Because giving up meant no more hunger, no more fear, no more rejection, just nothing. Her eyes closed. Her breathing slowed. And for a moment, she almost let that thought win. Hey, a voice cut through the storm. Aisha opened her eyes. An old woman stood nearby, holding a plastic bag. You'll freeze out here. Aisha didn't respond, didn't trust it, didn't trust anything anymore. The woman stepped closer. She placed the bag beside Aisha. Eat. Then she turned to leave. No questions, no judgment, just kindness. Aisha stared at the bag for a long time. Suspicion battled hunger. Hunger won. Inside was a simple meal. Rice, vegetables, still warm. Her hands shook as she ate. Fast, desperate, like her body didn't believe it would get another chance. And maybe it wouldn't. But something changed in that moment. Not her situation, not her reality, but her decision. She wasn't ready to disappear. Not yet. The next morning, Aisha stood in front of a glass building. Tall, clean, untouchable. People walked in confidently, dressed sharply, like they belonged. She didn't. Not even close, but something about that place pulled her. A sign near the entrance caught her eye. Community Startup Workshop, free entry. Her heart skipped. Startup? She didn't fully understand the word. But free, that she understood perfectly. She hesitated, looking down at herself. Dirty clothes, worn shoes, tired face. She didn't belong in there. A voice inside whispered, "Walk away." Another voice, quieter but stronger. "What if this is something?" She took a step forward, then another, each step heavier than the last. Security stopped her at the door. "Where are you going?" Her throat went dry. I saw the sign, workshop." He looked her up and down, judging, measuring, deciding. A pause. Then, "It's on the 3rd floor." He moved aside. Just like that, the door opened, and Aisha stepped into a world she had never seen before. Inside, everything felt different. Cool air, bright lights, people talking about ideas, dreams, plans, words she didn't fully understand but wanted to. She sat in the back, quiet, invisible, listening. A man stood at the front, confident, calm. "You don't need money to start," he said. "You need a problem worth solving." Aisha's eyes lifted. Problem. She knew problems. Too many of them. "But most people fail," the man continued, "because they wait for the perfect moment." A pause. There is no perfect moment. Something inside her stirred. Slowly, dangerously. After the session ended, people gathered around, networking, talking, laughing. Aisha stayed seated, unsure, until, "First time here?" She looked up. A young woman stood beside her. Sharp eyes, warm smile. Yeah. What's your idea?" Aisha froze. Idea? She didn't have one. She barely had food. Everyone has something," the woman interrupted gently. Aisha hesitated, then spoke softly. "I just want to survive." The woman didn't laugh, didn't dismiss her. Instead, her expression changed. Curious, serious. "What if survival is your idea?" Aisha frowned. "I don't understand." The woman leaned closer. "What if the thing you're struggling with right now is exactly what thousands of others are struggling with too?" Aisha's heart began to race. Come with me," the woman said. Before Aisha could respond, she was already walking. Aisha followed. Through a hallway, into a smaller room. The woman opened a laptop, turned the screen toward her. Numbers, charts, photos, stories, people, just like her. Homeless, hungry, lost. Aisha's breath caught. This is happening everywhere," the woman said quietly. "And nobody is solving it properly." Aisha's voice trembled. "Why are you showing me this?" The woman smiled. But there was something deeper behind it, something intense. "Because I think you just found your problem." Aisha's mind spun. Her heart pounded louder than ever before. "What are you saying?" The woman leaned back. eyes locked onto hers. I'm saying, you might be standing at the beginning of something big. A long silence filled the room. Heavy, uncertain, dangerous, Aisha whispered. And if I'm not? The woman's smile faded slightly. Then you walk out that door and go back to the life you had yesterday. Aisha looked at the screen again, at the faces, at the stories, at the reflection of herself staring back. And in that moment, everything felt like it was balancing on a knife's edge. One choice, one step, one risk. That could either change everything or destroy what little she had left. The woman closed the laptop slowly. There's one catch. Aisha's chest tightened. What? The woman's voice dropped. Low. Serious. If you do this, there's no going back. Silence. Aisha didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Because for the first time since she lost everything, she was being offered something that felt bigger than survival. Something terrifying. Something impossible. Something real. The woman extended her hand. Are you in? Aisha stared at it. Her mind screamed. Her heart raced. Her past pulled her back. Her future whispered forward. And just before she made her decision, the door behind them suddenly burst open. A man rushed in, breathing heavily, panicked. You need to see this. Right now. The woman turned sharply. What happened? The man looked at Aisha, then back at the woman. His voice dropped to a whisper. But the words hit like thunder. They already found out. Aisha's blood ran cold. Who found out? No one answered. Because in that moment, she realized something chilling. Whatever she was about to step into wasn't just an opportunity. It was a risk. A dangerous one. And somehow, she was already a part of it. The room didn't feel safe anymore. Just seconds ago, it was filled with possibility. Now, it felt like a trap. Aisha's eyes darted between the woman and the man standing at the door. Who found out? She asked again, her voice tighter this time. The woman didn't answer immediately. That hesitation said everything. The man stepped forward, lowering his voice even more. Investors, competitors. I don't know exactly who leaked it first, but it's spreading fast. Aisha frowned. Leaked what? The woman finally turned to her. Her calm expression was gone, replaced with something sharper, urgent. An idea, she said quietly. A big one. Aisha's chest tightened. That you were just showing me? The woman nodded once. Yes. Silence crashed into the room. Aisha took a step back. I didn't even agree to anything. I know, the woman replied. But you were here. You saw it, and now so have they. Aisha's heartbeat picked up speed. None of this made sense. She was homeless 2 days ago, hungry, invisible, and now, somehow, she was caught in the middle of something people were chasing, something powerful enough to be stolen. Why does it matter? Aisha asked. There must be hundreds of ideas like this. The man shook his head immediately. No, not like this. A pause. Then he added, not with real data. Real stories. Real execution. Aisha looked back at the laptop. The faces. The pain. The truth. Something inside her twisted. You were building something, she whispered. The woman exhaled slowly. Yes. Then why show me? Another pause. Longer this time. Because I wasn't building it for me. Aisha's eyes narrowed. Then for who? The woman looked straight at her. For someone who's lived it. Aisha felt something shift deep inside her chest. Uncomfortable. Heavy. Don't do that, she said quickly. Do what? Make this about me. I'm not special. The woman's expression softened slightly. That's exactly why you are. Aisha looked away, because a part of her wanted to believe that, and that scared her more than anything. Listen, the man interrupted, pacing slightly now. We don't have time for this. He turned to the woman. If they move first, we lose everything. What do you mean, move first? Aisha asked. The man looked at her. Serious. They launch before us. They take the market. They control the narrative. Aisha blinked. I don't even understand what that means. It means, the woman said quietly, that the problem you just saw will be turned into a business by someone who doesn't actually care about it. That hit harder than expected. Aisha's jaw tightened. Images flashed in her mind. People like her. Cold nights. Empty stomachs. ignored voices. "And you do?" she asked. The woman didn't hesitate. "Yes." "Then why haven't you done it yet?" The question hung in the air, sharp, uncomfortable. The woman held her gaze. "Because I was waiting." "For what?" "A beat. For you." Aisha's breath caught. "No," she said immediately, shaking her head. "No, that's not. I just walked in here. You don't even know me." "I know enough," the woman replied. "You don't. I know what it looks like when someone has nothing left to lose." Silence. Aisha froze, because that part was true, painfully true. "Look," the man said, frustration creeping into his voice. "We can debate philosophy later. Right now, we need a decision." He pointed at the laptop. "We either move forward, or we walk away and watch someone else take it." Aisha's head spun. Too fast. Everything was happening too fast. Yesterday, her biggest decision was where to sit without being noticed. Today, this is crazy, she whispered. The woman nodded slightly. "It is. Then why does it feel like I'm supposed to say yes?" The woman didn't answer. Minutes later, they were sitting around a small table. The laptop open again. But this time, it wasn't just numbers. It was a plan, a real one. The man spoke quickly. "We build a platform, something simple at first. Connect people in need with real-time help, food, shelter, work." Aisha listened carefully. Trying to keep up, "We already have some back-end structure," he continued. "But what we don't have," he looked directly at her, "is authenticity." Aisha frowned. "You keep saying that word like it's something you can't build." "It's not," the woman said. "It's something you live." Aisha swallowed. "So what exactly do you need from me?" The woman leaned forward. "Your story." Aisha stiffened. "No." The answer came instantly. Firm, protective. "That's not for sale." The woman nodded slowly. "I understand." "Do you?" Aisha shot back. "Because it doesn't feel like it." "I'm not asking you to sell your pain," the woman said calmly. "Then what are you asking?" A pause. "I'm asking you to use it." Aisha's hands clenched under the table. "That sounds the same." "It's not." "Then explain it." The woman's voice softened. "You've lived something most people can't even imagine. You understand the problem better than anyone in this room." Aisha didn't respond, because part of her knew that was true. "If we build this without you," the woman continued, "we'll be guessing." And guesses don't change lives. Silence filled the space again. But this time, it felt different. Heavier, more personal. Hours passed. Ideas turned into rough sketches. Sketches into structure. Structure into something that almost felt real. Aisha didn't realize when she stopped being an outsider in the room, or when she started speaking instead of just listening. "People won't trust it," she said at one point. "Why not?" the man asked. "Because when you have nothing, you don't trust systems. You trust people." The woman smiled slightly. "So we build trust first." "How?" Aisha asked. The woman looked at her. "Through you," Aisha exhaled sharply. "Again with that." "Because it matters." Aisha shook her head. "I don't even have a phone." "No money, no place to stay. And you're talking about building something big?" The man leaned back. "That's exactly why this works." Aisha stared at him. "That makes no sense." "It makes perfect sense," he replied. "You're not building from the outside. You're building from the middle of the problem." Aisha didn't know what to say, because for the first time, her situation didn't feel like a weakness. It felt like leverage, and that thought scared her. Night fell outside the building. But inside, the lights stayed on. The energy didn't drop. If anything, it intensified. Aisha's mind raced with possibilities. What if this works? What if it doesn't? What if she fails? What if she doesn't even try? Every question led to another. Every thought pulled her deeper, until her stomach growled loudly. The room went quiet. Aisha froze, embarrassed. The woman stood up without a word. Moments later, she returned with food. Warm, fresh. She placed it in front of Aisha. "Eat." Aisha hesitated, then looked up. "Why are you helping me?" The woman sat down slowly. "Because someone helped me once." Aisha studied her face, trying to find something hidden. "Was it like this?" The woman shook her head. No. Then why do this? A soft pause. Because I didn't have someone who understood. Aisha looked down at the food. Her throat tightened. She ate quietly, but something inside her was changing again. Hours later, they finally stopped. Exhausted, but not defeated, not even close. The man closed the laptop. We'll continue tomorrow. Aisha nodded slowly. Then reality hit again. Tomorrow. Where would she go tonight? She stood up, picking up her bag. I should go. The woman frowned slightly. Where? Aisha shrugged. I'll figure it out. The woman and the man exchanged a quick look. Silent, but clear. No, the woman said. Aisha blinked. What? You're not going back out there. I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. Aisha's chest tightened. I don't want charity. This isn't charity. Then what is it? The woman stepped closer. It's partnership. Aisha hesitated. Her instincts screamed at her to say no, to stay independent, to survive the way she had been. But another voice, quieter, stronger. You don't have to do this alone. Aisha closed her eyes for a second, then opened them. What's the catch? The woman smiled slightly. There's always one. Aisha waited. And then, the woman said something that made her heart stop. If you stay, you're all in. Aisha's breath caught. All in? No halfway. No backing out when it gets hard. And if I say no? The woman's expression didn't change. Then you walk out. And this ends here. Silence. Heavy. Final. Aisha looked at the door, then back at the table, then at the laptop, then at her own hands, shaking. Tired, but still holding on, she took a slow breath and said, I'll stay? But just as the words left her mouth, the man's phone buzzed violently. He looked at the screen, and his face dropped. What? The woman asked. He didn't respond immediately, just turned the screen toward her. A message, short, cold, terrifying. We're already launching tomorrow. The room froze. Aisha's heart skipped. Who? She whispered. The man swallowed. They don't just know the idea. A pause. They copied everything. Aisha's stomach dropped. Everything? How? When? The woman's jaw tightened. No, she said under her breath. That's not possible. The man looked at her. It is. Silence. Then Aisha asked the question no one wanted to answer. What do we do now? The woman slowly closed the laptop. Her eyes darker than before. More focused. More dangerous. We don't catch up. A beat. We outrun them. Aisha's pulse quickened. How? The woman looked straight at her and said something that changed everything. By using something they don't have. Aisha leaned in. What? The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. You! Aisha froze, because suddenly, this wasn't just about an idea anymore. It was a race, a war, and somehow, she had just become the most important piece on the board. The city hadn't even woken up yet, but the war had already begun. Aisha stood by the glass window, staring out at the empty streets below. Her reflection looked unfamiliar. Same face, same tired eyes, but something inside her had shifted. Last week, she was searching for a place to sleep. Now, she was part of something that people were willing to steal, something worth racing for, something dangerous. Behind her, the room buzzed with urgency. Laptops open, voices overlapping, energy sharp and restless. The man paced back and forth. We don't have time to build perfectly, he said. We build fast. We launch faster. The woman stood still, focused, calculating. No, she said quietly. We build smart. Aisha turned. What's the difference? The woman looked at her. Fast gets attention. A pause. Smart wins trust. Aisha felt that, deeply. Because trust was something she had lost a long time ago. All right, the man said, clapping his hands once. We need a name. Aisha blinked. A name? Yes, brand matters. Aisha hesitated. Names felt too big, too official, too real. This doesn't feel real yet, she admitted. The woman smiled slightly. It will. Silence lingered. Then Aisha spoke almost without thinking. What about reach? The man frowned slightly. Reach? Aisha nodded slowly. Because when you're out there, the hardest part isn't the hunger. Her voice softened. It's feeling like no one can reach you. The room went quiet. The woman's eyes held hers. That's it, she said. Reach! And just like that, it had a name. Hours blurred into motion. They didn't sleep. Didn't stop. Didn't slow down. The platform came together piece by piece. Simple interface, clear purpose, real stories. Aisha sat beside the woman, watching everything unfold, absorbing, learning, trying to keep up. You need to tell your story, the woman said again. Aisha stiffened. I said I don't want to... Not all of it, the woman interrupted gently. Just enough. Aisha looked away. Why? Because people don't trust systems. A pause. They trust people. Aisha swallowed. That sentence again. It echoed louder this time. You said that before. And it's still true. Aisha's hands tightened. My story isn't something I just share. I know. Then stop asking. The woman didn't respond immediately. Instead, she leaned closer, lowering her voice. What if your story is the reason someone else survives tonight? Aisha froze, because that thought, that possibility, it hit differently. She closed her eyes for a moment. Images flooded back. Rain, cold, hunger, silence. That old woman handing her food, without asking anything, without knowing her. Just helping. Aisha opened her eyes. What if they judge me? She asked quietly. The woman smiled softly. They will. Aisha's heart sank. Then why would I do it? Because some of them won't. A pause. And those are the ones who matter. Aisha looked down, her reflection faintly visible on the laptop screen. For the first time, she didn't see someone broken. She saw someone standing. Barely, but still standing. Okay, she whispered. I'll do it. The camera light blinked red. Recording. Aisha sat still. Too still. Her hands clenched together. Her breath uneven. The man adjusted the frame. Just talk, he said. Like you're talking to one person. One person. That felt easier. Aisha looked into the camera. Silence stretched. Seconds felt like minutes. Then she spoke. My name is Aisha. Her voice trembled. She swallowed. I turned 18 last week. A pause. And I don't have a home. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Real. Unfiltered. I didn't plan for this. Her eyes glistened slightly. But I guess no one does. Behind the camera, the woman watched silently. No interruptions. No corrections. Just presence. I know what it feels like to be invisible, Aisha continued. To be hungry and pretend you're not. Her voice steadied. Slowly. I know what it feels like to wait for someone to care. A long pause. Then she leaned slightly closer to the camera. But I also know what it feels like when someone finally does. The room felt different. Still, focused, alive. So this, she gestured slightly. This is for people like me. A breath. And if you're out there, and you feel like no one sees you, her voice softened. We're building something that does. Silence. Then the man whispered, I cut. No one spoke for a few seconds. Because something had just happened. Something real. The woman stepped forward. That was it. Aisha blinked. That was... Okay. The woman smiled. That was powerful. Aisha didn't know how to react. Because for the first time, her pain didn't feel like a burden. It felt like purpose. Upload it, the man said quickly. Now. The video went live. The platform launched. Just like that. No countdown. No big event. Just action. Aisha stared at the screen. Nothing happened at first. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Then 2. Her stomach twisted. What if no one sees it? The man didn't look worried. They will. How do you know? He smirked slightly. Because people are already looking for it. Aisha frowned. What do you mean? Before he could answer, a notification popped up. Then another. And another. Aisha leaned forward. What is that? The woman's eyes lit up. Traffic. Aisha's heart started racing. People were clicking, watching, sharing, Messages started coming in. I saw your video. Is this real? How can I help? Aisha's hands trembled. This is happening? The man nodded. And it's just the beginning. But then, another notification appeared. Different. Sharp. The man's expression changed instantly. What? The woman asked. He turned the screen toward her. A live stream from another company, launching the exact same concept. Cleaner branding, bigger production, more resources. Aisha's chest tightened. That's them? The woman nodded slowly. Yes. Aisha watched the screen. Polished presentation. Confident speakers. Everything looked bigger, stronger. How do we compete with that? Aisha whispered. The man didn't answer. Because for a moment, there was no clear answer. Silence filled the room again. Heavy, pressing, uncertain. Then, the woman spoke. Quiet, steady. We don't compete. Aisha looked at her, confused. Then what do we do? The woman turned to her, eyes sharp, focused. We connect. Aisha frowned. I don't understand. The woman stepped closer. They built a system. A pause. We build a movement. Aisha's breath caught, because suddenly, this didn't feel small anymore. It felt bigger than an app, bigger than a race, bigger than them. Hours later, the numbers kept rising. Not just clicks, not just views. Real people, real stories, real help. Someone offered food. Another offered a place to stay. A local shop owner offered part-time work. Aisha stared at the messages, overwhelmed. This is real. The woman nodded. Yes. Tears filled Aisha's eyes. Because for the first time, she wasn't the one asking for help. She was part of something that was creating it. Days passed. Then weeks. The platform grew. Faster than anyone expected. Faster than the competition. Because what they had couldn't be copied. Not the story. Not the connection. Not the trust. And then, it happened. A large conference hall, lights bright, crowd massive. The same silence from the beginning. Returned. Aisha stood backstage, heart racing, hands steady this time. The woman stood beside her. You ready? She asked. Aisha took a deep breath. No. The woman smiled. Good. Aisha laughed softly. Why does that make me feel better? Because it means you care. Aisha nodded. Then whispered, Thank you. The woman looked at her. For what? Aisha's voice softened. For not letting me disappear. The woman's expression changed. Gentler. You didn't disappear. A pause. You fought? Aisha smiled slightly, then turned toward the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the host's voice echoed. The founder of a company now valued at over $1 million. Aisha stepped forward. Lights hit her face. The crowd blurred. But her mind was clear, because she remembered everything. The rain, the hunger, the fear, the moment she almost gave up, and the moment she didn't. She reached the mic, paused, looked out at the audience, and said, A year ago, I didn't have a place to sleep. Silence, deep, respectful. And today, a small breath. I'm standing here because someone chose to care. Her eyes scanned the crowd. But this, she gestured outward. This isn't success. A pause. This is responsibility. The room stayed still, listening, holding every word, because there are still people out there. Her voice softened. Who feel invisible. A beat. And we're not done until they're not. Applause exploded. But this time, Aisha smiled. Not because she had made it, but because she knew she wasn't the same girl anymore. Later that night, she stood alone outside, looking at the city, the same streets. But everything felt different. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She frowned, opened it, and her expression slowly changed. Confusion, then shock, then something deeper. The message read, You solved the problem we were chasing. A pause. Now let's see if you can survive what comes next. Aisha's grip tightened on the phone. Her heart slowed, then sped up again, because deep down, she knew. This wasn't over. Not even close. She looked up at the city lights and whispered, Let it come. The screen faded to black. The end. If this story touched your heart even a little, then don't just scroll away. There are so many Aishas out there, still fighting, still hoping, still waiting for someone to notice them. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for more real powerful journeys. Because sometimes, one story can change everything.